Well, everyone, we have finally popped Cait's fantasy cherry. And I couldn't be more happy that we did it
I'm not mad about it.
with our guest this week, E.B. Asher. Fun fact, it's 3 people. We have Bridget, Emily, and Austin, and we could not be more excited to have them on the pod. They are the co-authors of a cozy romantasy series. The first was This Will Be Fun, and then the one that just came out this year is This Will Be Interesting. Buckle up for a very fun interview with them, and maybe you will learn something in this one. If not, that's fine too.
Cannot believe we got to talk to them. This was
Like, holy hell.
so fun. And I'm still not over the part of this podcast where like I read a book that I love so much and then immediately get to talk to the authors, especially this one because I feel like I was laughing so hard. Literally laughing out loud. And then I was like, "Oh my god, I get to like chat with them in like a day, like tomorrow. I get to go like talk to them. I have so many questions and I'm so excited. Like it's just a truly unique experience. And so this was one particularly that I was genuinely excited to chat to. Something that's really exciting that's coming up is that we are launching a bonus episode series. They are going to be shorter episodes, 10 to 15 minutes, and they are all going to be stories of how I got my agent or how I got my publishing deal. How I got my agent has a nice Higma to it. So if you see the Higma bonus episodes, yeah, we're going to let's talk to some authors and find out these like really fascinating stories about how they ended up in this world and their stories about being in the industry. So it'll be really fun.
Well, I am so excited for all of you to join us today, all 3 of you, because newsflash, E.B. Asher is 3 individuals, and it's like the trifecta of authors creating some really incredible, fun romantasy books. So cozy and just like, oh my god, I love it. I'm gonna try really hard not to just fangirl this entire time, but
It's
so
okay. You can.
okay. Like stroke that ego, like this is why.
Was it like always I'm sorry, I'm like totally jumping because I have to
I
know,
don't care.
was it like a thing that you guys were like, we're gonna use this as like a pen name and not like just, like tell everybody who we are and then like do our separate things? Or what was it always the plan to have like to show your to show yourselves?
It was when we pitched this to our agents, we were just like, here's a book, we could use a pen name or not, like whatever everybody wants. And then when we went on sub, the Avon editor who acquired us was like, there's a little bit of concern that with like the 3 names on the book, it could sound like an anthology of like stories. And so we're like, yeah, we've been from the
That's
get-go
fair.
like, probably going to do. And it was exciting. We all have long names, like in the
Some of
little
us more than
ends of
others.
the alphabet. Yeah. So we were excited to have a short name at the beginning of the alphabet.
That's true. Yeah, looking at like where you are on like the actual bookshelves in stores.
Bookshelves.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Obviously, the book that just recently came out is your second one in the series. And I know that you all have like talked a lot about like your collaboration like together, how you like work together, like the cohesion that exists. But what I am dying to know is the land of sequels, because we literally have not interviewed someone that has released a sequel. Like it's always, I'm going to write a sequel,
Mhm.
but it's never like, yeah, we did the damn thing.
I think we love this world so much that we always knew we would take any chance to come back to it. And I think it's like there's like a passion question and a commercial question, and you have to sort of like put the latter on hold and hope that the stars align for you to get to do more in this world that you love. But I think it was almost like a foregone conclusion that any chance we would get to spend with these characters and in Mithria was something we would be excited to continue doing as long as folks would have us. Also, I mean, the first book ends up on some pretty tidy layups for continuations. And so I think it's sort of like not that much of a surprise to any of us that we were kind of like, wouldn't it be cool if?
Yeah. Was it, I'm always curious of, were you like writing the second book while you were like in your head while you were writing the first one?
I think we kind of were in some ways. We knew what we would want to do loosely if we were able to write a second book because, like Austin was saying, like obviously we would hope to return, but it wasn't a guarantee. So we would have been happy with the book to end where it ended. But it was also very exciting for us to get to follow some characters in the second one that were maybe dead in the first one or we just didn't get to see. So, yeah, we definitely wanted it, but it could have gone either way and we would have rolled with the punches. But this is the best case scenario for us because we love the characters we got to write about, and this will be interesting.
What do you think readers didn't get in the first one?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The ending of book one was an intentional, like, we were like, bear with us, like, here we go. This was actually we were, as soon as we had that idea, we were like, that is a whole other book to write, that we're gonna now have Galwell's story. And like, what does it mean? I was just like, it was so interesting to us to explore the idea of somebody who had died and achieved his life's purpose and then was just brought back. We're like, well, that is an interesting character. And so we were like, let's run with it, and hopefully people will want to see where that goes.
Cait, I know that you've talked about this. It was our episode 2 weeks ago. We talked about can we just the moment of suspend disbelief for our readers? Can you just be okay with it?
Yeah, bear with us a little bit and just accept what's happening. And yeah, I was thrilled with the way the first one ended and jumping right into the second one to because I think we missed that whole character and we were like, this is if he would have been such a great guy to get to know. This is so sad. It was really sad. And where does this all if and for listeners who haven't read the series yet, it's Shrek, it's Princess Bride, it's Monty Python, it's all of your favorite comedic things in one, and it's awesome. It's so entertaining. It's wonderful. What was that first conversation between the three of you? The very first conversation about writing this series. I don't remember. Do you guys remember? It was text
Yeah.
message.
Literally on text
It was
message.
it was the group chat. Truly, God, ghosts bless the group chat because truly it informs so much of our so much technology is bad, but the group chat as a convention I think is such a good thing that we have. Continual long running message board report of life. And this book, as well as the idea of writing together, was really born out of there. And it was one of those things where the more we kicked it around, the more serious we started getting of this actually kind of would be fun. This would be great. These are the kinds of things we like. And at that time, the cozy fantasy world was a little bit in its nascency, and we sort of started to think about things that obviously we've been huge Shrek and Princess Bride fans for much longer than the inception of this book ever. But we started thinking about what were some stories that we could do together. And I won't. Emily should explain this because she always says it so well. But there's we wanted to come up with a premise that was right to be written by friends because it's about friends. I will hand the baton.
Yeah, I think we started literally from a place of we were like, if we were to write something together, the tone would be like the new Jumanji movies. I think that was the first thing.
That was big too, yeah.
Yeah, we were like, we want something that is fun and silly and full of heart. And so we were like, but we can't do Jumanji. That already exists. And so we started to think about I think it literally started from being people we meet on vacation with a Shrek vibe of with people who did this whole thing together. They saved the realm and then they haven't spoken in the 10 years since. And then they have to go on another trip/quest with each other. And so that literally was, once we said that in the group chat, I think we just continued texting for 2 hours and figured out a lot of the story just on that first day.
And as a whole, the way that our creative process works is very similar to improv in that it's a very yes and kind of world that we create together, but just how we approach ideas is oh, I love that. What about if this is added on to it? And so in the initial conception of that, it was just like a snowball that kept building and building and building. And really just the core of it and our driving force through all of it was entertaining ourselves, bringing together so many things we love. And as they've both said, creating something we felt like only we could create together, something that we wouldn't be able to accomplish with the same amount or same voice, tone, humor if we tried to write it on our own even. So that's how the This Will Be's came to be.
Yeah.
I want to be in that group chat. Can you just put me in the group chat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Contribute. I want to watch it.
On the wall.
Picturing the and what if Claire meets himself and he starts punching himself in the face?
Pretty much how it
Quite
goes.
literally.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. And I love talking to teams. Like we've now talked to a couple different teams, and there is something to finding that magic with. For you guys, it's 3 people. For me and Jenna, it's 2 people. And when you find that magic, it's okay, this has been the right time,
destined.
place, right people, type of thing. So it's always fun to hear those origin stories. And did you all know each other before the group chat, or did you meet randomly? How did that?
We've known each other since 2017, I think, is when, because we all debuted in YA books together in Los Angeles in 2018. And so we met up with a bunch of other of the 2018 YA debuts. We got to know each other and we just stayed friends. It's been almost 10 years now.
The group chat was popping long before we ever decided to write a book together. It really was just an outgrowth of the dynamic that we already had. And that's why it worked so well. Is we knew we had the same sense of humor. We knew we had the same reference. We knew we trusted each other and very much admired each other's accomplishments and skill and stuff. And so it was actually very easy to just sort of keep having the same kinds of conversations that we've been having just about these characters.
And we also are very similar in that we're very driven and we're very focused in not the exact same way, but on a same wavelength, where collaborating at this level, and especially on a fantasy book, This Will Be Interesting is 120,000 words long. It's a long book. So there's a huge amount of trust that goes into something like that and creating something like that with other people. And so we had known each other so long, and that was the foundation. Obviously, Emily and Austin are married, so they trust each other. But
we've known each other for a little while.
Yeah. But me coming into that, and I know them, and we know each other outside of this now business relationship we all have. But we knew we could stay the course. And that is something that I think is a very underrated element of any sort of partnership you enter into.
Yeah. Cait and I, we just got our LLC together for this not too long ago. And I think what solidified it was literally going on vacation together and going through a snowstorm together and almost perishing in snowstorm. And then we're okay, we can do this together. So
we can do this.
Yeah, take my money. We're fine.
That's cool. That's great.
And that makes me so curious as to how you break up the writing or how that actually works day to day on the team level. We have 3 POVs, so we each write a POV basically, but we, just like this call, we meet up and do FaceTimes and we break the story together. So there's nobody that's just surprise, chapter 10 is about this. It's
no popcorn.
Everything is carefully plotted, and it's very much the group chat in person, via FaceTime, basically.
Yeah, it's I think it's how TV rooms are run, where it's kind of writers all get together in a writer's room and break the story, and then they all disperse and write their episodes. And that is kind of how we do it. But we try to stay at this, we try to stay at the same place in the story, so we're able to read each other's as we write, and
it comes from a very complete, very detailed outline that we generate 100% together. We are literally talking about every scene and all of the contents therein. And so we really everybody is very comfortable and very enthusiastic, and we all come up with all the big plot moves, all the components, all the everything, and then it really just kind of branches at the end. And that part is super fun because you can read your counterpart's work and it's exciting and a surprise, and also because the book grows at 3 times your own writing speed.
I bet that's so satisfying.
It's awesome. It's amazing.
It's literally magic. It is its own version of Mithrian magic that you get to open up a document
and magic
grown without your direct contribution.
Incredible.
Yeah. But we also do things for this book, we created an encyclopedia. So anytime somebody made up an animal or this or that or the other, we put it into an encyclopedia and had it categorized by different types of things. So it was like creating a language together that we could all easily grab from as we worked too.
We did a great job on it, and we sent it to
Speaking
our
my
publisher.
love language.
Yeah, and they were like, "That's awesome. We'll never look at this again."
You're like, but I'm so proud of my baby.
Like, you should put this in here. It's great.
Yeah.
You want to
Very
name
cheeky. It's like a silly encyclopedia.
Great. It's awesome.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
I
And
know,
when you were
wonderful.
talking about outlining, I'm like, oh, that's how I work. And then when you said word count, I saw Cait's face like just go white. And because what did I tell you? Like when I was first working on like my second draft of my romantasy was literally like 130,000 words. And you're like, how did you even do that?
How did I do this?
Make stuff up at such a rate.
It's not that anymore. But
For us independently, none of us are like long writers in our like actual work. So it actually is like a feat for us to get to
Yeah.
these longer stories together too. And again, another thing we could only accomplish together because we're always like, we all write adult romance, contemporary romance, or speculative elements now, but they like you to hover around like an 80, 85,000. And we're like, how's 78? So we're
It
over,
really
like,
scraped it.
yeah, so it was an accomplishment for us to hit that 120, whatever it ended up being.
in the group chat, who's like the most brutal in the editing?
I mean, I think we're.
But I
Yeah,
think
we edit pretty light.
Really? Yeah.
actual like when we're brainstorming, that's where we're more like going back and forth on ideas. And I will say that I like am the most like hard. I'll just be like, I don't know if that's it yet. Like keep thinking, keep thinking, keep thinking. But like we don't go onto each other's chapters and like unless it's like a true like inconsistency where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, this happened in my chapter already, so I think we need to reconcile these two, or like we need a setting change for whatever reason. We try to once we actually are into the writing, not have that many edits. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll like I will say I'm the type of person too that will ask like a question that's like a brain breaking question that has just
Yes.
come to me that is sort of like a foundation shaking question that I'm like, unfortunately, as I was showering, I realized that we said Mithria is this, and now it doesn't make any of this make sense or whatever it may be.
yeah,
But it's like we each kind of have our own thing like that. As Emily is saying too, all of those things kind of go into the brain crock pot is what I like to say. And so that's all constantly simmering as we're creating. So there never really is a major issue by the time we are in drafting. It's just a lot of minor inconsistencies or just punch ups, really, like ways to up the stakes, up the tension, whatever it may be.
And who is the one that is most likely to crack as many jokes as possible?
It's because it's like so fundamental to the story. We're kind of like
Yes.
always trying to riff on it because like that is what we're actually literally creatively trying to do here. So it's kind of like it's not nobody's like the class clown because like the whole point is the class clown. It's like
the most likely to describe a food. He will create.
yeah. And I really like the whole like Shrek of it all of like how do we make a fantasy version of X, Y, and Z so that it's like a funny reflection of modern times. Like that has always been I will call a passion of mine. And it is something that I have, why I wanted and we wanted to write more of these is like I knew there were more such jokes to be made.
We actually had a really funny group chat moment where I can't remember the exact context, but it's like our own internal meme that like could make me cry laughing when I think of it. I was talking about like the characterization of the romances in this book. This will be interesting. And like whatever like layers I wanted to add. And there's a picture of an
remember
actor
now.
that we were using as like a reference for Hugh.
Yeah.
He's standing shirtless in like a lake. And so it was like,
There's no depth to it. Yeah,
it's just
we
like
were
a very
just what it
beautifully
was.
handsome.
We put
Peaceful
together
man.
our synopsis, and it was like we were really like Galwell has so much depth. Like he just comes to the page,
Yeah.
and we gave him this villain romance, and so we were like, there's just so much to like work with there. And then Bridget brought in this backstory for her characters, and then when it was time for Thessia and Hugh, we're like, well, Hugh's thing is this, and it's just a hot.
Yeah.
Like that's all we got.
That's all we got and
gave
that's
him
all we
a whole
need.
But originally he had none of that. We were just like, he's just a hot himbo. He doesn't really
it's
think
like
that much.
the picture is so funny because he's so affable. It just is so Hugh. But
Yeah.
that is
It's
like
so
a kind
Hugh.
of a classic. But that humor, though, is very us, too, that we're dealing with like these really serious themes. And then there's like a handsome shirtless guy smiling in a lake. And that is like
Yeah.
the contrast we're always playing with in these.
Yeah.
I think you guys are, it's obviously super funny, but it takes itself very seriously. And you don't play, I mean, like, you don't play to the humor as much as, like, you would think that somebody who's really funny does. Like, each character very much takes themselves very seriously and they have very serious emotions and they are 100% committed to whatever they're trying to achieve, and that's, I think, what also gives it the heart that it has, is that it's serious. At the end of the day, these are like very serious things that they want for them, and
Yeah.
you guys do a great job at like making it feel serious, but it's fucking hilarious.
I think there was like a Steve Carell quote when I was listening to like an Amy Poehler podcast.
Yeah.
He's like, people, like, characters in comedies don't know they're in comedies.
Right.
They take everything very seriously. And if they know they're in a comedy, no.
Right. That's why he's the GOAT.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
mean, we wanted the
God.
fantasy story to be like real. Like we didn't want it to be a spoof. It's like the fantasy part should work.
Yeah. And also, like, with our characters, like a character like Galwell, who is so deeply earnest and is essentially, and while he's a great hero, he's also kind of like not experienced a lot in his life outside of his heroism. And
Because he died.
that is something that, like, because he died and now he's back in the world and the world has moved on without him. And like for him, he's one of my favorite characters because, you know, it would be very easy to make him to play it for laughs, and a lot of his stuff is comedic, but like it works because his heart is genuinely so good that it just makes it funny. Like I assure you my legs are clean and muscular.
Oh yeah.
I'm listening to it on
That's a great
audiobook
part.
right now. I'm listening to our own book because the audiobook is so fun.
It is.
And I'm like just
Yeah,
having the
yeah.
best time laughing at the chapters I didn't write, particularly because it's fun to get to experience them in a different medium.
So when you did the audiobook, what were your dream goals with it? Because I know there's like, there can be like some creative license and everything, but like, what were you really passionate about that you wanted to ensure got like in
We felt
off the
very lucky
page?
because they came to us for This Will Be Fun, and they were like, yeah, the producers want to do like some fun accents. And we were like, sure. Like, this isn't a traditional fantasy. It's like Claire has
Right.
kind of a Western, like,
Yeah,
accent to
cowboy.
him. He's a cowboy.
I think we kind of liked that they were having
Yeah.
fun with it. It was kind of like that was like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, yes, like we want you guys to enjoy this too and like have fun and like bring your own crazy stuff. Because at the end of the day, that's what we did.
Yeah, and they really lean into that, and that's why if you haven't read it or are an audiobook listener, I'm a big audiobook listener, they're actually really fun to listen to on audio, and you can tell that the narrators are having fun too. At least I like to think that they are because they're getting to do so many accents. But yes, it's not at all like a traditional fantasy, but we didn't suggest that. That was completely from the producer, and we were just lucky to benefit from that.
The best part about the audiobook too is like hearing the chapters read by who that chapter's about, but then having to hear them all do all the different voices for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that's so fucking hilarious. Like you're just like, Claire doing
Like Vondra and doing all that. Yeah.
Beatrice's voice is so funny because when you hear her actual voice, it's totally different. Like they definitely sound like they're having fun. Highly recommend the audiobook.
Yeah, it's such a good time.
Really good.
I'm curious, can we ask you about the next thing? Because I know that you announced very recently that there is a next thing. If I can ask you about it.
We are super
I would love
excited.
to know more about it.
Yes, next year, it's just not connected to This Will Be universe. It's a new story, and we pitch it as like The Hangover meets the Atlas 6, but like in a silly way. It's like they are 3 magic school flunkies who end up getting very drunk and pulling a prank that maybe is going to destroy the entire city. And they're the only ones who can fix it if they can remember what they did last night. But they blacked out. So they got to retrace their steps like in The Hangover.
Oh my God. Yes,
That-
please.
It's been great to write. It's been really fun. They're a very like new crop of characters because they're kind of like they're really like when we meet them, they're kind of the screw ups. Like they don't at least some of them don't think of themselves that way, but they're sort of like a mess and all kind of like having to deal with the fact that they feel like they're the three worst magic school students there is, and they just got super drunk and have no idea what they're doing. So it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, we're working on it right now. So we're
Yeah.
in the process of it and we're having such a blast. And it's fun to be in a different world than the world of Mythos
Yeah.
and Vestria and to be coming up with things that are just entirely new, but also feel like what is now kind of our E.B. Asher signature of just a little bit of the silliness mixed with like a lot of sincerity and some serious, real stakes set against some very unserious situations.
So for this book, when you mentioned like you originally thought of like Jumanji, like the new one, and I feel like your new project that you're working on, I just keep picturing Jack Black like over and over again in my head.
He is a good, like,
He has a part in all of our hearts.
Okay, good.
yes. He is always a guiding force for us.
Yes, he is.
The other day we were like, could we find a way to like do School of Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't tell Picasso to sell his guitars.
Like,
It kills me every time. I love that movie so much.
yeah, Jack Black is always like a guiding star for us.
Yeah. My kids watched Minecraft for the first time over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like not a Minecraft nerd or really mildly invested in any sense of the word. Like my son, he's turning 5 next week and he wanted to watch it. I'm like, sure. So now, for about 7 days straight, we have played Lava Chicken on repeat in our house.
Every day.
Love it.
It's I can't be mad about it because it's Jack Black.
No.
If it was anyone else, I'd be like, no. But yes.
It was really smart of him. He really like that was a really good relevance play. I have to hand it to him. Like he kind of like knew he knew something that we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
Did you see that interview with the Fanning sisters where one of them is like, he is just like,
Of
So
course,
hot.
Elle Fanning, yeah.
Yes.
on a stick or something, she says.
And then he saw it and he was like, I'm flattered.
That's awesome.
I kind of get it. I'm not against a Jack Black.
Nope.
I do want to like do chat about kind of side things too outside of E.B. Asher and what you all are up to in your other lives.
You have a multifaceted life, each of you.
Yeah.
Well, Bridget, yours comes out first.
Yeah. My next Bridget Morrissey book is called In What World? That comes out in August. It's a sapphic speculative romance about two women who hated each other in high school, reuniting as adults to investigate the disappearance of their beloved former teacher, only to end up traveling through a series of increasingly bizarre alternate realities together, where they are forced to confront the question of, like, in what world would the two of them ever fall in love? And it has been such a blast. I love any sort of, which will be neatly tied into what Emily and Austin tell you they have coming next, but love anything to do with time travel, multiverse, like what would my life be in another version of reality? And this book basically takes that very literally. They meet alternate versions of themselves and literally see who they would be if they made different choices in their life. So that's what I've got coming up next.
So it's like the Marvel multiverse, but done well.
I'm actually have never seen any of the Marvel movies, but
Thank God.
maybe it is. It's my take on it without knowing their take.
Perfect.
And then Emily and Austin have.
Yes, we have our next adult romance, which is called Just in Time, and we pitch it as When Harry Met Sally, but about two time travelers who keep bumping into each other as they travel through the past and strike up a friendship that might shake up their time travel and what it means going into the future.
Like, do you guys write these insane blurbs first? Like, before you even like sit down to write the chapter, you're like, okay, here.
I mean, yes.
Quite literally, yes, we do.
Yes.
We start with
Yes.
the log line,
And like
basically.
we have to like we come up with a bunch of these and like it's the ones that we keep thinking to ourselves, I really can't ignore that idea. That's what we end up putting forward. And if it has a supernatural pun in the title, it's obviously gets bonus points for me and Emily specifically because we seemingly cannot help ourselves.
Please tell me that was part of your wedding vows.
Unfortunately, we had not discovered that yet. Sadly.
Time for a vow renewal.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. Just in time.
Oh,
In what world? This one we
Oh, wow. It's coming all together.
oh my God. So
I think that was it.
that was like the best soundbite in the entire universe. Back to the blurb thing, because I don't know, like, Cait, if you've heard that before, of like starting with like the pitchiest pitch blurb ever and then building off of that. Because I'm like, we always joke that we don't teach you crap on this podcast. We just like drink, talk shit, and have fun. And I just learned something today. So that was just
I mean, yeah, it's really
I don't know if everybody does, but it is definitely the three of us work like from the smallest, bigger. Because that's how every podcast you do, they say, what's your book about? You can't be like, let
Yeah, I
me
don't
read
know.
you a 7-page document. You got to
Sure.
be able to say it in a sentence. So
let alone like commercially, like we always try to come up with like a great title and 3 paragraphs, because when folks are going to be picking this thing up in the bookstore, what are they going to read? A great title and 3 paragraphs. That's like, so it has to work, you know.
It's our bellwether. And it's like, if we're not able to like make something sound good in those 3 paragraphs, then something's
it's not tight
right.
enough yet.
Right.
Yeah.
There isn't enough of a concept yet.
This is why we talk to the pros.
But it is like they always, that's what publishing wants from you when you sell books on
Mhm.
proposal. They want to know what it is with the least amount of reading required from, they want to understand it quickly
Seriously.
and be able to tell other people about it quickly. So whether or not you are good at that initially, like it is something definitely worth improving upon, because it is, you will be asked to do it and asked to sum things up in an appealing way more than you'll be asked to like wax poetic on any of it.
Yes. Yeah. And when we have authors on too, I'm always amazed at how I'll be like, oh, and like, we'll wrap up, and do you want to pitch anything else coming out? And they just
Just really go.
yeah, and it's like it's there, it is memorized, it is ready to go. And so yeah, I totally get. But you guys just your blurbs are specifically so good every time. Even when I
Thank
see
you.
them on social media, I'm like, how do they? This is like clearly where they're jumping off from.
Like, who
Um,
needs a list of
yeah.
tropes when you have that pitch? Like,
Exactly.
screw it.
I need a freaking trope reveal. For
It's
that.
reassuring to hear you say that, because admittedly we have had a harder time reverse engineering our brains into coming up with the lists of tropes, and we're getting better at it, but like that has come less naturally.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's just a
were
different
you-
convention.
Were you
It is. I'm kind of over it. I think it's like, I feel like it's like almost a social media trend at this point. It's
Oh, it absolutely is. Like we all have to like meet social media like where it is, like, and so we just like try to figure it out. But like I think it's really cool when people are pushing it to another level, because that's inspiring to us, like, too. We're like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, I want to try to do it that way too.
We also like the tropes specifically for this will be interesting. There are 3 romances in this book,
Yeah.
and we wanted them to be different. So like that's a place where tropes were really helpful, because we could look and think
We're like,
about
what do we
tropes
got
and
it?
be like, let's pick 3 very distinct, very different things and execute them so that we feel like we're giving 3 unique experiences within the same book.
So were you all like avid romantasy or fantasy readers before you even approached writing this series together?
I am a very avid romantasy reader, like,
Okay.
and all like YA and adult, definitely big reader. Austin has always loved fantasy as well, but he's a lawyer, so he doesn't like have as much.
I have always loved epic fantasy, and as far as romantasy goes, I am not some stereotypical neophyte. I have a competency. I sort of have like a working knowledge.
And then I exist in like the space right between that too, where I read a lot. I just read all across genres and categories. And I also, when it comes to like film or TV, it's the same thing. But those touchstones like all together, and like the way that we vary on that, or how we are able to find something that appeals to all of us, because it's like digging for like the diamond that we all covet, when we create these things together.
I ask this a lot, especially with people in the fantasy realm. What are you reading when you are writing? Or do you not read when you are writing?
Usually always reading, but usually more reading like what we want to write next. Like so
Yeah.
whatever we are writing. So like right now I am reading more fantasy because we want to try to like write a fantasy next. But like when we are writing a fantasy, it's like, okay, I'm gonna read some more contemporary or like whatever. So it's definitely because you want to like do that research before you're actually writing because you don't want to be like drawing too much from it
Uh-huh.
or feeling too influenced or feeling getting in your head. Like you want to be able to just like have fun when you're reading and not think about your work.
I'm just always just reading whatever is speaking to me in the moment. I'm like I said, I love audiobooks and I'm a big fan of the Libby apps. Skip the line. I will just go through there and like scroll and like pick a book that I maybe never in a million years would have picked up on the shelf. But I feel like that really helps me not tire out on one specific genre because I am writing a lot of it. And so I'm always just seeking novelty, basically, and just trying to keep my brain fresh.
And I have to ask, what have you read this year that you're like, that was absolutely incredible?
I think most recently for me it was the new Heather Fawcett book,
The Agnes
Mhm.
O'Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah. The one about the cat shelter. That was great.
I loved The Night and the Moth, Rachel Gillig,
Mhm.
and I'm so excited for the next one of that. I thought that
Mhm.
particularly like the last act of that was like so breathlessly exciting and like so propulsive.
Mhm.
So that would be mine, I think.
Yeah, I sign on to Agnes as well. That's the one that, like, Emily filters the good stuff to me, and that was I agreed.
Co-signed.
Yeah, basically.
If you could pick a romantasy for Austin to read next, what would you pick?
Yeah, I would totally would take
Ooh.
recommendations. I
Kevin.
totally would.
I have okay. Let me do my little spin. Have you read Carrie Lake's Anathema?
No,
Oh,
done.
okay. So Carrie Lake is one of my all-time favorite authors. I was like hook, line, and sinker for Nocticadia. And that was a dark academia, sci-fi fantasy romance. Lots of things.
I can tell you it's got a very metal cover. I think this Austin will like.
Oh, great.
Love
I was gonna read it anyway though. I'm sincerely looking for like
This
genuine, like
this is right up
sourced,
on
knowledgeable recommendations. I really am looking for like good,
Audiobooks.
like genuine, yeah, audiobooks and legitimized recommendations that are not just like the endless internet.
for anybody listening who's not like a romantasy reader, because I'm really not very familiar with this world at all. And like, they're just not the books that I would normally pick up. So when I picked up, this will be fun. It's fun, right? And I was like, well, I can't, like, I have to read both, like, right? So I can't just pick up the new one. But so I started it and I was like nervous. So I was like, am I going to be able to keep track of everything? Okay. Like, am I paying attention? Like, I can't read when I have the kids around or like whatever it is. But as soon as I read the sentence, first of all, the when it was started and it was like Beatrice is drunk. I was like, all right, I'm Beatrice in was drunk safe in the space. bath. Yeah.
You're like, check.
I'm okay.
And then the next line, it was like a little bit after that, but it was like a fucking banquet. And it was the perfect one. And I was like, I am in safe hands and I'm going to be okay. The rest of the ride was wonderful. So if you are listening and you would not normally pick up a romantasy, like this is a great, you'll be okay.
Yes.
That's a
Okay.
big compliment. That was really a North Star for us. It really was, that it be like not something that you have to like study hard for and stuff. We really wanted to just be like, well, fun.
Yes. And
Yeah, it was.
Cait, I'm never going to force you to read Throne of Glass. Like, I won't do that to you.
It's very long.